because he got to know that I was pregnant for my second, and then the next thing he told me was to abort it to him and I'm seeing exchanging of his private parts with another person, and he tried several times. He tried to rape her.
Hello and welcome. On this episode of the E.B.U.N show, we are discussing abuse in marriages and relationships. But here, before we go ahead, have you subscribed? It's not difficult to subscribe. You see that red button? Just click it. And when you've clicked it, hit the bell beside it and you would have subscribed. It's that simple. Like and share. So much has been said about domestic violence, gory details of the things people have had to suffer in the hands of their so-called lovers, or husbands, or wives. While we are learning to take up the issue of domestic violence, physical abuse, not much is being said about other forms of abuse, like emotional abuse, psychological abuse, and then have we gotten to that point where we agree for people to leave a marriage that is causing damage to them physically, mentally, and in other areas, whether men or women, especially for men. We feel men are weak to walk away from marriages even when they are being abused. Well, I'll leave my guests to do much of the talking. I have today on the E.B.U.N show Mirabel Samuel. Okay, that name is not registering, but I know you know this one. Chef Mimi of G&F Catering Services, the Lolo one. And she will be taking us through her experiences, the things she suffered in her marriage, and the courage she had to walk away from that marriage. And then 9 years after, what are the lessons we can learn from her as she looks back on the experiences she had? Take a seat and have this ride with us. Mimi.
Yes.
You're welcome on the E.B.U.N show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to ask you about your journey.
Okay.
Yes. So at what age did you get married?
Okay, so I got married at 18.
18. Yeah, most of our mothers got married at 18.
Yeah,
Why are you not looking at me like there are still people who get, even in this day, who get married 16.
Yes, 16, 18.
Yeah. So you got married. How did you meet the guy and what was the journey like?
Okay, so that's like taking me back.
Yeah, taking you back.
Okay, so it was when I was going for my GC exams. Yes, that's after WAEC. So I had to write GC just to back up, before WAEC was out. So as our country be. So I was coming back from one of our papers that day, and then I met him along the road. He was, chasing me right from a particular bus stop. I didn't really do all this boyfriend, girlfriend thing in secondary school. I saw my mates doing it, but for me, school was the focus. So I was more of this naive person. So I was like, okay, I'm done, and this guy looks good. Don't follow me from home. And I just got phone newly.
So you got to exchange numbers, and that was where it started from.
And that was how it started. Yes.
Okay.
So we started dating, and then when I got into university, okay, first it was my pre-degree program. We call it pre-science rather. It was during the pre-science that I got to know, okay, this relationship, we're taking it somewhere, further. So after pre-science, I know it was in 2011, I got married. But I realized that he was more interested in doing a court wedding than following all other process. You understand? It was just that.
Which is good, because that's the legal one. It's supposed to be a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But you are Igbo, maybe the traditional is more important for you.
It's more important for us, yes.
Okay.
Because before you even go ahead to do the legal, you have to complete the traditional. That's what's legal for us, as Igbos.
Okay.
So, but I just noticed that he wanted to skip that. He was more in a hurry, most time you get to learn things after you realize why people do or people did what they
What
did
they
at some
did.
certain point. Yeah. So then after that, we did our court wedding, and then we got married, and then that was when, you know, marriage opens your eyes. You understand? So I started to see his other, you know, attitude.
Was he immediately after the wedding?
It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was immediately after, because his work didn't allow us stay for a long while. So it was more like he comes 2 weeks and then he's back to work. He comes 2 weeks, he's back to work. So he doesn't really come back every time. We moved over to Abeokuta, not Lagos, but his work remained in Lagos. So due to that factor,
hold on, sorry.
Okay.
He comes 2 weeks home and 2 weeks away, or how long does he stay away?
Yes, he can stay 2 weeks away.
Yes. And you guys met in Lagos,
yes,
but he moved you to Abeokuta,
yes,
and he would spend 2 weeks in Lagos.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
that was another issue for me, because I mean, if you met you in Lagos and his work is in Lagos, why did you move to Abeokuta?
Yeah, so the explanation he gave to me was that, they are having plans on relocating him to moving him over to another branch of the office in Abeokuta. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, I don't know if that was true, but it was what he told me. When we moved over, they still retain him.
So you had your baby and your mom couldn't come for a move?
Yeah. My mom was a principal of a school then. She was full-time into her teaching. So she couldn't just leave school. And then because of the distance, it wasn't something possible like that. So we had an agreement that, okay, I have to come over to my mom's when my mom is still young. You understand? So it's easier for her to, that early morning, and my daughter was her first grandchild. So, you know, that early morning, she will watch over me, and school, you know, as a teacher, 4, 5, you're done. She'll have time for me. So we did that for, it was just barely 3 weeks. That it wasn't even exactly 3 weeks. So, you know, he couldn't take it anymore. He was like, he wants us to come over. He wants us to come over. I had to go. My mom, everyone actually followed me back. But, you know, when we got back, well, maybe it's a normal thing with guys but I noticed that he's the type that couldn't control his body. Well, I didn't deny him when it comes to sexuality now. So it wasn't like I was denying him, you know, and all of that. But I noticed that he would want to have sex with me. And then my mom had to ask, when we finally moved after 3 weeks, my mom had to ask one of my sisters to stay back. So I noticed that he wanted to get closer to my sister. He would want to have sex with me. And then in the morning, to me, I just felt it was a normal, you know, I want the man I will get married to love my family as if, you know, they were his blood and all. So it was later I got to realize that, all of those closeness he was having with my sister he was actually equally trying to molest her, you know, force have his way around her. But luckily, thank God for our upbringing, thank God for everything and all, he couldn't succeed, and he did not succeed in that area. He tried several times. He tried to rape her. There was a time we had Scorpion get into the room, and then she had to move over to our own room because it was becoming common. So she had to move over to our room. I wouldn't know that when I'm with the baby, you know, after a mother, you're taking care of the home, doing everything. Tired. Yeah, by the time you are knocked off, facing where your baby is and all, I wouldn't know that he had gotten up and turned in the same room, you know, trying to molest her. And at some point, my sister got angry with me that, you understand, why was I not careful enough to notice what it was? My mind was just so plain. As this particular one that I just said now, it was much later we got to know. As at the time when it was happening,
your sister didn't tell you.
My sister didn't tell me. Yes, so it was afterwards when everything, because she didn't want to be the reason why a home is breaking.
So wait, at this point, I want to put a question to you, watching now, that because we've had these cases where a husband tries to have sexual knowledge of a sibling. Then there's the question of, should that sibling keep quiet to save the sister's marriage, or should that sibling raise a red flag? If you were in that situation, would you tell your sister that this is what your husband is trying to do, or you turn the other way and let the so-called marriage work? What would you do? Let's go. So let's get to the issue. Then you had a second baby.
Yes. So
So between your first baby and your second baby, did everything go smoothly? Was he a good husband? Because at that time, you didn't even know he wanted your sister.
Yes. So between the space of that, I wouldn't really, well, I would say I was managing the relationship. I was managing the marriage rather, you understand? Because I noticed that he would go out, even the 1 week, or sometimes I would be lucky to have the 2 weeks full, you know, that he would stay with me. He would buy stuff for himself coming back. He would get stuff for himself and sometimes for my sister, but he won't get for me. He won't get for my baby. You understand? For our baby then. So at first I was happy. My husband even loves me, loves my family enough that, you understand, that was how it was. My mind was so plain, I was so naive, you know, and all of that. So at some point I started getting worried that you at least even one time, even if it's worth 100 naira, something for me, nothing, you understand. I started getting worried, but I wouldn't show it. I just
But it
kept
wasn't
to
as
myself.
though he didn't have money for it. He could afford it.
He could.
But were all those reason enough to leave the marriage?
No, that was not even it. That was not it. I'm a very patient person, and then because of my background, divorce is not an option, or was not an option.
Yes.
Could never even occurred to me. Mine is, you must enjoy your marriage. Anything you see there, you know, you have to make it work. Until at the time when he was about to travel, I never knew he had plans to leave Nigeria. He wanted to travel out, and he did not inform me. And then I was pregnant for a second
baby.
Yes, baby. My first baby was like about as at the time I knew I was even pregnant. My first baby was like about 10 months, 9 months plus. That was when I got to know. So he told me not to let my parents know that. He's just even telling me. That was what he said, you know.
How long before he traveled did you know about his traveling?
Okay, so it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks interval. And he said it in a way that, as at that point, he just told me he was making plans. Because the reason why he told me was because he got to know that I was pregnant for my second. And then the next thing he told me was to abort it, you know, that I should go remove the baby. And I didn't know where, you know. I didn't remove my first baby. It's the second baby that I want to remove. So, you know, we started an argument and all. And then, before you know it, he just said we were traveling. We were going to travel to the village, you know, let's go and even see his people, you understand, so that I can even get familiar with them and all of that. And I'm like, why? You get, then I think I was going through his document one certain time like that, and that was how I got to know about his plans that he's already due to travel. And then he told me not to inform my parents. We're going to go home, we're going to go stay in, and like, our house rent here is not due. I can take care of myself. If you leave the necessary finances down for me, I can take care of it. And if you feel it's not okay, going home is not the best option. Your parents are old, you understand. My own parents are still young. They can still handle the responsibility of having me with them. Unlike the parents, I will be the one responsible for them. You understand? You know how it is with in-laws and all that. They will be looking out. And then I'm pregnant, and then my daughter is
just 9 months old.
Yes, I'm not even used to this kind of experience. Everything is new to me. The marriage stuff, everything is new to me. So you're going to be making it difficult for me to adapt.
So you eventually went to the village?
Yes, I eventually, but it was with lots of issues and all. So I eventually went to the village, you know, and then we went, and then he was telling me he was going back the next day. He was traveling back to Lagos. His flight is so and so. You know, everything just happened within a rush.
Let me get it right. So he told you about plans to travel.
Yes, and he said
he didn't make it look like it was time to travel.
You know. He made
So
it look like in 6
took
months,
you to the
1 year.
village, and then left the next day.
The next day, you know. So he left, and then that day he left, I noticed different signs on my body. You know, I had several marks on my body. I didn't know, so I was scared. You know.
What do you mean signs?
You know, that night I just noticed that I was sleeping, and then I felt things were on my body. I got up, and then I realized I was itching all over, and it was painful. You know, by morning, when it was morning, because it's in the village, no light like that and all. So by morning, I noticed there were marks on my hands, on my buttocks, and on my legs and all. Thank God I had to call the mother. to show her that look at what I saw. Even she herself was scared. So she was like, this village is not good for me. And she will not keep me in the village. And then the next thing, that was how they just wanted to do my life. Moving from one place to another like a homeless person.
In all of this, did they inform your parents? Your husband was no longer in the picture. The parents cannot home you. Did you tell your parents yourself, or did anybody at least tell your people?
So I was able to let my parents know that, he was traveling. But at the point when he finally traveled, nobody, my parents were not aware. My parents felt I was in the village. My parents didn't know they were moving me from place to place. Prior to that time, I noticed that when I see stuff on his phone, it will come. It wasn't as if I'm the type that looks through phone. But most time, he's that careless enough that because of what he's doing, maybe, I don't know how to put it, but he's that careless enough that his phone will be on and then I will see his previous chats or something, you understand? Maybe he rings and then I want to give to him and I'm seeing exchanging of his private parts with another person and then when you complain, when I speak to him that why are you doing this? It's not like I've ever denied you or anything. There's no, even when I'm stressed and tired. So what is it? He would use the word that, what if he tells other people that his wife does not know how to cook? How will it feel? That people should better not hear it from my mouth. Do you get
blackmailing you? and you see, you know, when we talk about abuse, we readily just think about domestic violence, where there are hitting and all of that. But I think what you went through was emotional, blackmail, and because here when people even ask you, is that reason enough to leave a marriage? I'm leaving it to you again. This is the second question I'm posing to you. In this kind of situation, is it okay? Is it ground enough to exit a marriage?
Thank God my daughter wasn't really grown, but that was his attitude. Watching porn, watching animal sex, and all of that. And when you complain, there's an issue. You understand? So there's always an issue. He would always look for words to just break me down. And then I just had to stop complaining. Oh, let him just live his life. You understand?
So let's fast forward to how you were able to leave this marriage.
Okay.
So they moved you around for a period of time from one place to the other among their family members, and you were pregnant.
And I was pregnant. They didn't care. You understand? They didn't care. It was that bad. They didn't even care about my pregnancy.
So you're a pastor's daughter.
Yes, my mom.
The preaching is, it is wrong for you
to leave
your marriage. Yes. So what happened? What was the breaking point for you to leave?
So the breaking point was, when I was moving from their place, his sister's husband tried to molest me 3 times. And the first experience, I couldn't talk because I'm equally not the type to ruin a marriage, but I know what happened, you understand?
What happened?
Okay. He tried to hug me, and then while in that, you'll be wondering, why are you hugging me? He would do it when his wife is not, and when his wife is back, it's like I'm his enemy. It's like he's trying to show his wife that, why did his wife bring me into this house? Why did she allow me to come to the home? But immediately she leaves, he would go, and the annoying thing is that he would leave, and then he would
as though you were the only one in the house.
Once he would come back, you understand? He would come back, and then he would try to, as if he wants to pet my daughter, and then come to hug me, and then want to touch my boobs and all. That was the first one, and then I kind of like moved back, like, because I was not understanding. I normally hear of that, but I didn't register. It didn't register in my head, like, what's happening? Like, I couldn't get. Second time too, towards the tail end of my pregnancy, it gave me issues. For my first trimester, didn't give me an issue, but towards the tail end, I started having this. Once I eat the corn, I want to throw up and all of that. So at some point, I threw up, and then when he noticed his wife wasn't there, I threw up, and then I had to go back to lie down after cleaning up and all. He would come underneath, and my bed has a net. He would come underneath, raise his hand, and touch me. You understand? So
you were pregnant,
and I was pregnant. I was like, am I dressing anyhow? In fact, I don't even want to have a picture of myself anymore because I was looking like this village old woman. That was how I was. I was a shadow of myself. It wasn't as if I was dressing beautifully. I was looking like a
So
shadow
you'll
of
be
myself.
questioning yourself.
Yes, I was wondering what's
why,
happening.
what attracted him. And you know, in molestation cases, the people involved first blame themselves.
True.
You ask yourself, what am I not doing right?
True.
Why am I attracting this person? And you said something that pricked me, that when things happen at first, it can't register.
Yes.
You know, people say, are you a fool? It happened to you the first time. Just when people complain, you don't understand because you are not in. Do you understand? You are trying to think, what just happened? What just happened? Sometimes your brain cannot even grasp
I'm
it.
telling you, like, is this real? Is this happening real? Are you imagining things? That was how it was for me. Am I imagining things? Until I had to speak to him. I had to speak to my ex-husband then, you understand, over the phone. And then I just asked, oh, how far with your brother-in-law and all of that? How is it? Who is it? Who is it? And then it was him. You know, when God wants to liberate you, he has a way, even from people that, to them, they feel they are wise. They don't even know when they were exposed themselves. And then it was the one that said, I shouldn't mind that useless man. You understand? That he doesn't even know what his sister is still doing with him. And then I just kept quiet and just allowed him run his mouth. And then he started telling me of things, how he used to sleep with his house help and all of that. You know, he was one using his own mouth to tell me how he used to beat his sister and all of that. That I shouldn't follow them to their church and that was what he was just saying. And I was surprised. This is someone that don't even really value me. And then
so you knew that they were like this, and you still let me stay with them.
I said so. So what he said was I had to now tell him. It was until when he was done telling me everything and who the man was that I had to open him out. That I actually thought I was hallucinating. That probably this pregnancy is making me hallucinate. You understand? So I had to tell him, and then he promised that he was not going to be mad. He's not going to do that. What he's going to do is to take me out of that place. That enough is enough. It was like I think he was coming back to maybe they blocked his brain or they used juju on him, and then he was coming back. That was how it was. And then he said that before the end of that week I will be leaving and going back to go and stay with my parents. You know, something you said with your husband in confidence and all. And then he told me to go pick up money from his other brother. He told me by so and so time I should go 12 o'clock. I went, and then I got there, and that one was looking at me like, he said, don't tell him anything. Just tell him he sent me to collect money. So and so amount. I went, I was just looking at me like a fool. Meanwhile, I didn't know that they've called me. The sister I was staying with, the husband, they were laying curse on me with pregnancy, cursing me that I want to ruin their home, that did I think they will not hear and all of that, that this is my end, that I may be, you know, saying all manner of salt to me and all. So I had to call him again.
Practically, your husband, your ex-husband,
yes,
betrayed you.
Yes, he did.
Because he didn't believe you. He thought you were lying to him.
I don't know what happened, but, you know, it was, my heart broke into pieces at that moment. You understand? Going back, I had lots of, it was like memories were just flashing that I've just made a mistake in marriage, and I know that once you've made a mistake in marriage, your life is ruined forever. I wasn't
your life is not ruined forever, because here you are looking good. If you did not open your mouth to tell us your story, we wouldn't have known you've gone through the things you went through. So let's sing the victory song. How did you leave?
So that day, after that course, after that round meeting on me, and then they wanted to move me, they said I have to move again to another family member's home. I was like, no, enough is enough. I kept quiet. I didn't respond to anybody. So what I did was the next morning, break of day, I had, I think, about 3,000. I'm a person, I love to save. You understand? You can't give me, no matter how small it is, I must save something out of it. I just took that 3,000. I had my ATM. In that ATM, I had just 10,000 naira left from savings. So I was confident that this would take me back to my parents' place. So I couldn't even call my parents that I was coming, because I don't know what story to tell them. I don't even know where I want to start from. So, you know, I went out that morning to go look for a bus to pack my loads. By the time I came back, they had actually locked the door. I don't know, maybe they already knew I had plans. But my saving grace was that I took my daughter along with me. So I went to the park and just left like that.
How many years back was that?
This happened, everything happened in 2010. So my marriage lasted for barely 2 years. Yeah, it lasted barely 2 years. But within that 2 years, it was... it was hell. The words said to me even before I went to the village, the words each and every time, you catch him doing something bad, the words he will tell you, you just go back and then you'll be second guessing that, are you not enough? You understand? So
you will not be sure of yourself.
You'll be wondering. You just keep wondering, are you actually the one pushing him outside? Are you actually the one making him act the way he's acting? Are you actually the one? He will even go as far as telling you that since he got married to you, you understand, since even your daughter, since I had this thing, no more money for him, no more life for him, and all. It was like he was angry being responsible, for a family. I'm grateful that I took that decision to leave, because till today I've never had to go back to that village, and they've been wanting to push me back to that village one way or the other. Till today, he has not been financially responsible for
the
them,
children.
Materially, not his family, not anybody. And this is 2013. I barely,
that was
2013.
This is 9 years away from that time.
Yes, my daughter is 10 years, and not a penny we did say that they are responsible for.
Okay, so that was 9 years back. You are in a better place now.
Yes.
I'm sure that you would wish that that part of your life didn't happen.
Yes.
But it happened. It's your past. It can only make us have a better future. So advise us, for someone who is out there, who is going through a turbulent marriage, who is going through abuse, one form of abuse or the other, tell them, what were the signposts you saw that if they see now, they should know it is time to pack their things and leave?
Okay, so it's easier to recognize physical abuse. For physical abuse, I would say you have to just make up your mind. Some people, the fear of society, the fear of family, bringing shame to the family and all is there, but your life is more important. Physical abuse is even worse. It's physical, just one hit, you might not get a second chance, you understand? But when it comes to emotional abuse, psychological abuse and all, you have to, the signs are, there are words they will say, you understand? Words that bring you down, words that make you feel like
you don't amount to anything.
You are nothing, you understand? Words that always they will always tell you words, because for my own case, they will always tell you words to make you feel like you are privileged to even be married to him, whereas he's the one privileged to even have me as a wife. You understand? Because so you have to be careful with the words that they say from their mouths, how they make you feel. It doesn't have to be that, you have to be oversensitive to words. No, that's not what I'm saying. But be careful of those words that bring you down. You have to be careful with your values. Are they doing things? Because those things that they do that are not in line with your cover, that's why you need to ask questions even before you get married. That are not in line with your values. By the time you're trying to correct them alongside, it's going to be a problem, and then it's going to drain you.
So it's always very delicate for me to talk about moving away from marriage or separation. You know why it is delicate for me? Because ladies who in the first place do not want to stay in the marriage safe, they take it as an excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love what you said about don't be oversensitive.
Yes.
The truth is, when someone is angry, there are some things they can say. Of course, there are limits to it, but even you as the lady, you know that when you're angry, you might have said some certain things that you go back to apologize about. That's not what we are talking about. We're not talking about things that are said in anger that, please, I don't even want to see you for now.
Not that.
Not those, don't be that
siblings
petty.
Even have that.
Yes, even siblings. So when you fight, go back and settle. But we're talking about constantly making you take the blame. Yes, for things that are going wrong. Ever since I met you, my life, as a prophet told me that you are the one, you are the cause of my problem. You want to walk, you can't walk. They don't let you. You know signs of those people. They
want you to,
to be subservient to them. Your dreams mean nothing to them.
What they want.
Before you made that decision to marry him, of course, then you were blind to it. But now, I'm sure evaluating the situation, you'll be able to see clearer. In case of someone who is about to make such decisions too, what were the signs that, looking back, you can now say, oh, I saw this, I just didn't know?
Okay, so I'll be honest. I got to know he smokes. That's one sign, and that's like a no for me. But I just felt okay. This is the first thing I'm noticing about him. That was before marriage. If I was a Christian, that's how I put it, because I always have this godly mentality right from while growing up. I was like, so if I'm a Christian and I want to change somebody, so because of this I would leave him. What if I change him and he becomes a good person? So
Yeah, that one. You
So,
saw something that was against your core value, yet you let it slide.
yeah, he was a chronic smoker. Yes, he smokes all kinds, cigarettes, skunk. I learned a whole lot of words from him. I know, he
What's
was
skunk? Even me, I
SK.
don't know. Okay, we'll say that one after. Yeah, the
So,
smoking.
yes, so he was a chronic smoker and he drinks. I realized that for each time I'm with him, there was nothing godly that could come out of his mouth. Everything that came out of his mouth were vile. He would tell you stories of friends that slept with sister, mother, and another sister. He would tell you stories of people that slept with their daughters. He would just all his talks around me were basically sexual. And I'm wondering, fast forward now, I'm just wondering, what was it that you saw? Was it that, because you didn't want to date, you just felt okay, the person you gave your heart to, you should just follow? Sometimes I still blame myself, but I realize that, depends on your level of exposure. You understand? It's very good to be exposed
before settling down.
And like, I have something my secondary school teacher said, Mr. Odunayo. I'm very sure you will please mention his name. He said something because while in secondary school, I was head girl. I was like one of the best students. He called me aside and I mentioned two other students' name for me. That say, this one, they might not be in the same level with you when it comes to academics, but if I want to rate them, I will rate them higher than you, who is better than them academically. And he said, see, life is much more than this your book that you think you know. You understand? Try and understand life better than just books. He mentioned that, and at that point I was wondering, what's this man saying? Because he used to be my favorite teacher, but I was looking at him, why would you tell me that? For now, what I'm focusing on is my book. But it took life experiences for me to go back to understand what he was saying. As an intelligent person, as a wise person, try and be balanced in everything. Don't shut your eyes to the world, because you're living in the world, but it doesn't mean you have to act like the world. Be knowledgeable about life, about human beings. You understand? Love yourself. Learn to love upon yourself. Learn to understand yourself, how you
take
want
care
to
of
be
yourself
loved. Take
first.
care of yourself.
Develop yourself first. Do not wait to be married to get fulfillment, because eventually he didn't let you go to school.
He didn't.
He didn't let you continue school.
I didn't continue because he kept stopping me. I was in school and then he asked me to pull out. I said, please, let me defer. Let me defer my course. Pregnancy won't stop me. Let me defer. He said, no, he can't be here. Can't be in Lagos and I'm schooling in the East. You understand? At the end, he would leave me behind at home and go out. You understand? So it was that. He did that until I could no longer continue.
Wow.
So,
you see, I couldn't even say much, and really, there isn't much to say. She has said everything. It is okay to marry early, but make sure that your maturity matches up. That's what I've gotten from what you...
Yes.
Make sure your maturity matches up to the level of commitment you are entering into. If you're a parent watching, I think you should be more involved in your child's life.
Yes.
I think we're too particular in this side of the world about us, so that shame will not come to our family. But is that shame worth, not going through shame, is it worth your daughter's life?
It's not.
Do you understand?
It's not.
So let us listen. I think African parents take pride in, once my children are married, I don't poke nose. It is no longer my business. It is your business.
It is.
If your child, and
it is actually,
men will come for us and say we are biased. I know that there are men in the same situation. Yeah. We don't like to say it, and men don't like to speak up because men feel they have, it will be a sign, it will be Momoreno, that it will be a sign of weakness. If a woman is abusing you as a man, you should speak up.
You should speak up.
If it is violence,
you speak up.
Leave. Get a separation from such a woman. Do not lose your life. We've heard over the news where the man sleeps and the woman stabs him
yes.
and all of that.
We have stories, so it's both ways.
And that is why I love my church, Enthronement Assembly, and my pastor, Reverend Deji Olabode. He's a very practical man. You know what practical. It says? It says the covenant of life is greater than the covenant of marriage. So it rubbishes all this staying in marriage and facing abuse, and then you lose your life over it. Crown will not be waiting for losing your life over domestic violence. In heaven.
There's no crown. In fact,
but babe, you are in a good place now.
Well, God is helping.
Look at you. Those children are beautiful. Like when I met Mirabel, first one you meet her, you don't even know that she has 2 grown-up children. You're doing well. She has G&F Catering is doing well. Yes, I'm sure if you were there, you won't be like this.
No. I don't think there will be anything of Mirabel. Nobody hear of the Lolo.
The Lolo one.
No one will hear of me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your experience. I know it was a tough one.
I've been able to, touch life. At least someone listening will be able to learn 1 or 2.
And make a decision to stand up for themselves. And so you've heard it. Drop your comments. What's your contribution towards this? Please drop your comments in the comment section. Thank you so much. If you have not subscribed, what are you doing?
Please subscribe.
Why are you running? Please subscribe, like, and share. Bye.
Click the button.